you so much for being here today. I want to walk you through two workplace ethical issues, one being from the past and one being from the present. I'm not sharing these to point any fingers or stir up drama. I'm sharing them because they show something important. What happens when leaders start prioritizing numbers, metrics, and profits over actual human beings? We're going to look at what happened inside Wells Fargo, yes, the actual fake account scandal, and then we're going to bring things into the present and look at Amazon's warehouse culture. And through both examples, I'm going to use a simple ethical decision-making framework. To break it down, what went wrong, what choices leaders made, what could have been done differently, and what can we learn from all this moving forward. Ethical issues in a workplace aren't always dramatic moments where someone intentionally decides to be the villain. It usually is quieter than that. Ethical issues happen when an environment puts people in a position where doing the right thing feels like a risk, but doing the wrong thing feels like the only way to keep your job. It's when the message becomes, hit the numbers no matter what it takes. Wells Fargo and Amazon both show us what happens when a company rewards results at the expense of integrity. And when the system is built that way, people feel concerned, stressed, and afraid to speak up. So, to make sure we're analyzing both examples the same way, I'm using a very straightforward ethical decision-making framework. It's basically six steps. Step number 1, identify the ethical issue. Step number 2, gather the facts. Step number 3, identify the stakeholders. Step number 4, evaluate the possible options. Step number 5, make the ethical choice. Step number 6, reflect on the outcomes. It's simple, but when you walk through step by step, it becomes really clear where the leaders make good choices and where they didn't. Let's start with the past example, Wells Fargo in 2016. When the story broke, it sounded outrageous. Millions of fake bank accounts were created, customers were being charged for accounts they never approved, and thousands of frontline workers were losing their jobs. But here's the part many people don't realize. This didn't happen because employees randomly decided to create and commit fraud. This happened because employees were pushed, threatened, and punished for not meeting completely unrealistic sales quotas. People were to sell up to 8 financial products per customer, and when most customers don't even need 8 products. But the pressure was intense, so the ethical problem really was about coercion. Workers were asked to hit targets that no human could realistically meet, at least in not the honest way. And when employees raised concern or tried to tell supervisors what were happening, instead of fixing the system, leadership pushed the whistleblowers. Many were written up, fired, or ignored completely. Management knew the expectations were impossible, but they ignored the signs because quotas made numbers look good on paper. This is exactly how an ethical culture breaks down. When we look at who was affected, we see many layers of the problem touched. Employees were losing their jobs or being forced to act unethically. Customers were being charged for accounts they never wanted. Shareholders were being misled by inflated numbers. Regulators saw a bank presenting itself as a model of success while hiding misconduct. And the executives, the people who shaped the culture, benefited financially from inflated performance until the truth came out. Everyone experienced harm, just in different ways. When Wells Fargo's leadership evaluated their options, they had multiple paths they could have taken. The number of sales, or listened when employees reported red flags. But instead, they doubled down on high-pressure culture. They chose option A, keep quotas and punish the non-performers. That decision created short-term profit and long-term damage. It's a perfect example of what happens when choices prioritize numbers over ethics. The ethical solution was obvious, and people inside the company had been asking for it for years. Remove the quota system. If your sales targets require employees to cross ethical lines to survive, the problem isn't the employees, the problem is the targets. The fix should include ending unrealistic quotas, shifting rewards to customer satisfaction, providing an anonymous reporting program that actually protects employees, making leadership accountable for creating unsafe pressures. A safe workplace rewards integrity, not desperation. Eventually, Wells Fargo made changes, but only after the scandal went public. Only after the government investigated. After customers complained loudly, after all the firing of the certain employees, they did remove quotas years too late. They paid billions of fines, fired leaders, and rebuilt parts of their culture. My recommended solution is different because ethical leadership should act before the explosion, not after the damage is already done. Prevention is always less painful than repair. Now let's bring things into the present with Amazon, a company that has completely transformed the way we shop and the speed of deliveries. But while Amazon has been innovative on the customer side, the workplace behind the scenes tells a different story. Many warehouse employees report pressure, fear of falling behind, and exhaustion from the speed-based performance metrics. While it's not like Wells Fargo, it is a moderate ethical issue. Amazon tracks employees more than almost any other workplace. Every item picked, every scan, every minute of time off task is reported. A scanner/robot decides how fast a worker should move. And if somebody pauses too long, even to drink water, stretch, or recover, the system can flag them as low performing. Some workers describe that feeling as if they are racing with a machine they can never beat. The fear of falling behind is constant, especially during peak seasons. The ethical dilemma at Amazon looks surprisingly similar to Wells Fargo's situation. At Wells Fargo, it was impossible sales quotas. At Amazon, impossible speed quotas. At Wells Fargo, the outcome was fake accounts. At Amazon, the outcome was burnout, injuries, and incredibly high turnover. Both workplaces created cultures where people feel pressure to push out their limits just to stay afloat. Amazon has several different options. Keep the quotas and monitoring as they are, or reduce quotas during peak seasons, build quotas around agronomical research, basically what the human body can safely handle, adjust the system so productivity tracking emphasizes safely instead of punishment. The ethical option is the one that values workers' bodies and well-beings just as much as delivery times. My recommended solution isn't anti-speed or anti-productivity, it's simply pro-safety. Amazon could set quotas based on what humans can realistically and safely do, expand rest breaks, make time off task data appealable instead of automatic discipline, invest in automation that protects people rather than replaces them. You can still run a fast, efficient company without physically wearing down people. Amazon has taken steps forward. They added robotics to some warehouses. They're talking more openly about injury rates. They're trying safety programs, but several major issues still have yet to be addressed. They haven't adjusted quotas to match human limits. They haven't reduced the constant surveillance. And they haven't given employees more control or more say on how quotas are set. Progress is happening, but it's not enough yet. So what did we learn about Wells Fargo and Amazon? They taught us that ethical issues don't appear out of nowhere. They start when leadership values numbers over people, when performance becomes more important than integrity or well-being. The message is simple. When workplaces protect employees, protect customers' reputation and long-term success, ethics isn't just a rule book. It's a culture. And culture is shaped by the leaders who make the decisions. We can build workplaces where people don't have to choose between keeping their jobs or keeping their values, where success never requires sacrificing well-being, and it starts with choosing ethics every single time.